Here is a live look at downtown Winnipeg tonight. It has been a windy evening in southern Manitoba, and that is causing some issues outside of the perimeter. More just ahead.
This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Thanks for joining us. That's where we will start tonight with the weather, which is leading to highway and school closures. This was the scene in Headingley a couple of hours ago. Highway 1 has been closed from Winnipeg to Eli in both directions due to poor driving conditions and icy roads. The entire perimeter highway around Winnipeg has also now been closed. Many highways in southern Manitoba are reporting ice-covered or partly ice-covered conditions tonight. And school buses in the following 10 communities on your screen are canceled for tomorrow. Schools in these communities are also closed due to the road conditions. These are all in the Prairie Rose School Division. We will get a full look at your forecast with meteorologist John Sauder coming up later in the show. An investigator who worked for the province is accused of leaking information to the ringleader of a drug trafficking network. Detectives with the RCMP have charged 50-year-old Donovan Syrad with multiple offenses. It is all part of a months-long investigation. And as CBC's Josh Crabb reports, officers also allege that drugs were being trafficked on the grounds of Winnipeg's National Microbiology Lab.
Cocaine, crystal meth, and fentanyl are among an estimated $2.5 million of drugs intercepted by RCMP as part of Project Dog Pound. 19 guns were also seized in the investigation that started back in May 2022 and culminated in numerous arrests and charges, including against a provincial investigator. RCMP say 36-year-old Wei Ha was the orchestrator of the trafficking network, which brought in drugs and unstamped cigarettes from Ontario to Manitoba. Officers alleged the drugs were then distributed across the province and country. Detectives alleged Ha was leaked information on police enforcement plans by this man, 50-year-old Donovan Syrad. They identified him as an investigator with Manitoba Finance's Special Investigations Unit, a provincial team that works to crack down on contraband cigarettes.
The investigators were very astute in respect to determining and pinpointing exactly where that leak was coming from.
Syrad's been charged with bribery of officers, breach of trust by a public officer, and conspiracy to evade payment. The province declined comment on his status, but a justice source says Syrad's on a leave of absence without pay. 20 other people have been arrested and are facing charges as part of Project Dog Pound, including a Corps of Commissionaires guard who was working here at the Canadian Science Centre for Human and Animal Health.
That particular individual would meet with Wei Ha or other targets of the investigation on lab property and then would store and traffic drugs for this criminal organization while at work.
The complex is home to the National Microbiology Lab. In a statement to CBC, the Public Health Agency of Canada says the guards' access to the building was limited and they had no access to sensitive materials. The agency says it's already reviewing security operations. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, it appears the Manitoba government is rethinking its opposition to supervised consumption sites. A new bill that was introduced at the legislature today establishes licensing requirements. But that doesn't mean Manitoba suddenly likes supervised consumption sites. Mental Health Minister Janice Morley-Lecomte says the province is creating standards just in case.
We can't stop them under the federal exemptions, but what we can do through the standardization of our policies ensure that anyone accessing is able to seek it in a safe environment.
Morley-Lecomte says she is still personally concerned about supervised consumption sites. A 17-year-old boy has been charged with manslaughter in the death of a 15-year-old boy in St. James last week. Police say the 15-year-old and his 17-year-old brother were in an altercation that day on Sackville Street. They made their way to a home here on Amherst where they encountered another 17-year-old boy they knew. He was armed with a gun. Police say that is when the 15-year-old was shot and critically injured. The suspect remains in custody. Well, a school in the Seven Oaks School Division is offering a Punjabi bilingual program next year. It is the first of its kind in Manitoba. Joanne Roberts has the story.
The first letter is Uda. It sounds as oo Jaspreet Hari's family speaks Punjabi at home. Even though her son is a fluent speaker, she's enrolling him in the new bilingual program at Amber Trails Community School.
He loves English as well as Punjabi, and he's proud that he can speak more languages. So I think that's exciting for him.
Hari says the program will help connect people in the community, especially children with older generations. Hari says the bilingual program is much needed as the South Asian community continues to grow. In Winnipeg, the population went from 37,000 to 62,000 in 5 years, with over 30,000 people declaring Punjabi as their mother tongue. Navjeet Kambo is the principal of the school. She says parents have been contacting her non-stop to enroll their children.
Punjabi bilingual program is about sharing, experiencing and celebrating Punjabi language with one another, regardless of the heritage.
Kambo says she's happy her school can serve the growing South Asian community with the program. Bhupinder Basar is enrolling his son in the program. He says he wants his children to be fluent so they can communicate with their grandparents and learn from them.
They have more experience and they can teach the kids about the values and all the things, that good things that they experience in their life.
Busser hopes other families without ties to Punjabi culture consider the program. He says it's important for people to learn about different cultures. The program runs from kindergarten to grade 2 with hopes to extend it through older ages as it evolves.
मैं सितंबर च स्कूल जाऊंगी.
Joanne Roberts, CBC News, Winnipeg.
It is now official. The 2025 Grey Cup will be played in Winnipeg. The CFL made that announcement this morning. Dana Spiring will co-chair the Grey Cup festivities. She is the former chair of the Blue Bombers board and is now the head of economic development in Winnipeg. The planning for the 25 Grey Cup has already started. Hotel rooms and venues have been reserved. Winnipeg last hosted the CFL championship game in 2015. Here is what it looked like in southwest Manitoba earlier today. Blowing snow advisories have been in place for much of the day. Meteorologist John Sauder is in next with more on when things will come down.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. The trade and upgrade event is on now.
Well, as of late this afternoon, we still have a couple of weather alerts in effect. There's blowing snow advisory in the southwest, talking about poor visibility due to winds gusting over 70 kilometers per hour. And this snowfall warning is for up to 20 centimeters. That's today and tonight. I'm expecting another 10 across this section of Manitoba tonight, and then it'll taper off west to east as the low moves out to the east tomorrow. So periods of snow in Thompson tomorrow, and more 2 to 4 more centimeters around God's Lake and Island Lake and up through the Gillam area. We'll see just increasing cloud here and not quite as much wind across southern Manitoba as what we were experiencing on Monday afternoon. Additional amounts over the next 24 hours up to 4 p.m. Wednesday. You can see that we are still expecting some more accumulating snow from that low moving across the north. -9 tonight. We'll see a few evening flurries left over. Those are now moving out to the east of the Red River Valley and then clearing overnight. Partly cloudy in the morning, but mainly cloudy in the afternoon. And again, not as much wind. So the -3 will feel pretty decent. Then a few cool days, maybe a few more flurries on Thursday. A couple of windy days as well. Still cool on Saturday, but closer to seasonal on Sunday.
Thanks, John. That's your late news for this Tuesday. Thanks for being with us tonight. Be safe if you have to be out on the roads first thing in the morning tomorrow. We'll see you at 6 and 11 tomorrow as well. Have a great night.